Welcome to the show. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. More on them in a bit. Welcome everybody to the Anime-Versal Reviews Podcast, where we review anime, just like the title says. Welcome back to the Anime-Versal Reviews Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple days late this time. We indeed got an episode, even though they didn't really advertise it. They didn't announce it. I kept checking the Facebook and the Twitter, and it just never populated. So I texted Brian. I was like, dude, I don't think we're getting Dr. Stone this week, and that sucks. But look, lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, we got episode 4 on Funimation on Thursday, Full Assault. And what an episode. It's well, let me bring on the others. Of course, I'm joined as always by my significant other, Christine.
Hello. And
our significant other, Brian. No, I'm joking. We're joined by the PulpMythos part. I don't know how you refer to yourself, but Brian over here. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Do you like refer to yourself as like one of a trio or like?
Just say PulpMythos.
Yeah. There you go, Brian from over at PulpMythos there, and we're gonna talk about something Brian has been begging for since this show started. Brian, we got an episode of almost nothing but Tsukasa and his people backstory. What'd you think?
Yes, it was great. I loved everything about this episode, and I'll be praising it throughout the course of this review for many reasons.
Christine?
Yeah, it was good. The part where and for me, like, of course I'm going to Senku's part. Their new invention I'm excited about. Because I was hoping to get something like that. So
Yeah. Well, we knew we knew it was coming, and we'll get to the credits talk, but yeah, guys, this episode was amazing. Getting all the backstory on Tsukasa and his group was just it just really did a lot for the world. And did a lot for the tension and conflict between Senku and Tsukasa, and they bring us into it in a great way with this funny introduction where what's her name again? Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki.
Nikki the guard. She is judging Gen's, voice of Lillian, and she's like, it's a 55, and it's just a really funny comedic anime bit. But then she gets into it, and she's like, look, this is how it is about Tsukasa. Not everyone here loves him. Not everyone here agrees 100% with him. But he's got this power and charisma that once they see it, they're basically like, yeah, man, I'll for now at least I'm gonna follow you to the moon and back if necessary. Her description of him, I think, was desperately needed for us to understand why all these people are, staying with him and not necessarily trying to, find where Gen went, because the science guy over there has fun toys. What'd you think of her description of Tsukasa, Christine?
Yeah, pretty accurate. Of course, you kind of get a feel for it in season 1, and it'd be hard to break free from someone like that, especially when they have people that are right next to them so powerful. So it is a hard task that they're gonna have in order to get people to leave. So
yeah, and Brian, I'm sure your praises start right here.
Yeah, because not only she lays out his, like you said, charisma. They use that word. His way of talking to people, convincing them to be on his side. She even lays out his sort of power structure to a degree. How he has, the people right next to him and the specialty skills that they have. He's very smart in how he chooses who he has and what jobs they have. But yeah, it also, like you said, using the word charisma and stuff, it builds to that mystique of he's this powerful leader that after a few moments with him, you're convinced he's the one to lead.
Yeah, it's such a thing because you start looking at tyrants in history, and one of the key things about tyrants from ancient tyrants in Roman times and even ancient Egyptian times, hundreds and hundreds of years before Roman times. You've got those types of leaders, those types of tyrants, and the same thing's always said. They had a charisma, a way of talking and inspiring people with a all the way up to Adolf Hitler himself. People said it about him in the 30s and 40s, and Tsukasa fits it.
Yeah,
same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. He entered. He's towering. He's tall. He's got that physical thing going. But then on top of that, his ability to say, and even in the few episodes we got with him, the way he speaks, the way he lays out what it is he wants to do, and sort of the matter of fact way of this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to be done.
Doesn't he refer to Chrome as he uses a slang term? Like I can't remember if it was like dude, bro, or man, something like that. It was very casual. Like, he doesn't even have to speak down to people in order to speak down to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she then goes into who he surrounds himself with in his inner circle, the ones that are loyal and to a fault. And she says there's two, a right hand and a left hand, and of course Yoga or Kyoga, fuck. Hyoga. Thank you. Hyoga, the spearsman from season 1, is the right hand, and we find out that Ukio, or Ukio, sorry, is the number 2, and that's the silver-haired archer. And that was such an interesting thing to learn. You're like, wow, I mean, it makes sense. The guy with the good hearing becomes your number 2, and it's you're expecting him to just be this presence himself when you finally get to him and hear him speak and interact with people. And it's very different, but she passes this information to Senku and Taiju, and they figure out we gotta basically limit how many times we use the cell phone, how many times the song is played. If Ukio is hearing this thing, it could tip him off that things are fake. Yeah. And it's a hilarious moment that reminds me of Fairly Odd Parents when Cosmo has like multiple good ideas in an episode because Taiju has a good. He's like, we just won't play it that much, and they're like, yeah, actually, you're right, Taiju. And then I think
you had a good idea.
Exactly. I think he even mentioned trying to get multiple people at once, like a big exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that and her approach to it. But it still left me with lots of questions about Ukyo at that point. Brian, how'd you feel about his introduction?
It was interesting. Were you saving his past job part?
Yeah, we find out Gen tells us that he was the sonar operator on a submarine, and that he was we don't know when he was awakened, like how what number he was out of the 32 that are awake right now under Tsukasa. Yeah, go ahead now, Brian.
But yeah, with that piece of information, that to me that was interesting because, especially with later, I don't want to jump too much ahead, but we're hearing that Tsukasa's biggest issue happens to be, the idea of weapons of war and science of war and stuff like that. So here he has recruited someone who very much has that knowledge base, as being someone who was working in a sub, who knows how to use sonar technology, which in many accounts has been used in war. Or for war purposes.
Yeah, not only that, he uses a bow and arrow. He uses it's a very old weapon, but it's still a fantastic weapon because you can hear a gun go off, but an arrow is quick. You can easily reload. If you know what you're doing, you can really wipe out a lot of people, pretty quickly. And, it's like you don't want weapons, but you have weaponized someone. You've made them, a weapon, and the weapon itself, like an extension off of him, because, like, he's just after anyone who he needs to go after for Tsukasa. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's somewhat of a contradiction of what Tsukasa is talking about, in my opinion. It seems now that something happens later that we'll talk about later that this particular character does, which is raising some serious questions.
Yeah.
But maybe he's in agreement with what we're talking about here, or I don't know. But very interesting information about the character. Interesting his past job, and he's someone that it's cool. He's a brand new character to us, and yet I'm way interested in where his story is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of get to keep talking about him for a bit because it carries on with Gen and Senku talking, and we had a mic go down, and so we're both huddled around this one guy. So if the audio's off, a little echoey, sorry about that. Chrome and Magma are mentioned by Gen, and he's like, talking about Ukyo and how dangerous he is, and that he had them pinned down. And they had me faked out, man. I did the dust cover, heard arrow shot, and Magma for heartbeat. I legit thought we just got like Thanos. Like, oh my god, they did it. They killed Chrome, but it was a fake out. Did anyone else think for a second that it was real besides me?
No.
No,
because it seemed kind of strange how he was fighting. Like someone who is that good, he's good with his hearing. He uses his bow and arrow. You'd think he would have hit them, even with the smoke. I mean, you can tell with movement. I would assume that he would be able to see once like the smoke started going down, and they've been running around a lot. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you messing around?
Like I said last week and pointed out to Brian, and Brian agreed with me, and it turns out it was just a fake out. That arrow coming through the smoke and seeing Chrome and Magma bounce off each other, that usually is a lead up to at least someone getting injured. And I was like, he's either incredibly hurt or dead, and then Magma said dead, and I was like, wow, did they really just do that? And no, they didn't.
Yeah, but. And that's I also think like if either of the two were going to die, you would take out Magma and then bring the other one in for questioning. So it was kind of weird to look at, like, what's going on? So
yeah. But anyways, Magma, goes off to think that he can, kill Ukyo, and it's Chrome trying to figure out what the guy is doing, and like Christine said, he's missing on purpose and stuff like that, and he basically figures out that one of two things are going to happen. He can either get to where he's going to get to where he's going to have to kill them, or he could surrender. And so he surrenders, and we actually get to meet Ukyo for ourselves, and he's not what I expected. He's very calm, pleasant guy. Offers to undo the rope that he had used to tie up Chrome, because he knows Chrome's not gonna run away, and gives Chrome some compliments and flatters Chrome in a way that obviously was uncomfortable for him. There's questions about Ukyo's intentions with those flatteries, and then whether or not Chrome might have ever been exposed to homosexuality at all. And
see, I didn't pick up on that.
I saw it as a possibility. What, Brian? Did you see his Ukyo's?
I mean, I definitely felt a little of a flirtation, but
yeah.
but for me in anime, it
can be,
sometimes it just is. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily
exactly
a sexual thing,
but it's a
potential
it
could be.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
And we know Chrome has it for has the hots for
the priestess.
Ruri, and it's a potential interesting story thread for Ukyo and Chrome and the village, and just it's a potential thing, and even if it's just him being friendly, it's still an interesting character trait for this right hand weapon of war, like you said, to be so kind and friendly and calm and logical. I mean, was it shocking to you, Brian? And now a word from our sponsors. Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. Grow Generation offers the best deals and discounts on the best grow products on the market. Grow Generation serves customers across the nation and carries a wide inventory of renowned cultivation brands. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
I don't know if it was shocking. It was one of those like, oh, this is interesting. Where is this going? And like you said, there's a lot of logic to even the little dialogue he has by, cutting him free. He's just like, well, you surrendered. Why? you're not, you don't want to run. The
Not
fact
like you
that
can.
I also like that when Chrome figured out, hey, this guy should have hit us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even him using his knowledge, and thinking, wait a minute, he would have been able to hit us. He's purposefully not hitting us. Why?
Yeah. I think that with the flattery is a way to kind of like let Chrome's guard down. I thought it was like like an attempt to just a little bit, not like for it to be like super successful, but to kind of, even though like you may see it coming, or like like not really see it coming, but when you recognize it, like, hey, he's trying to get in my head, you may be aware of it, but it could possibly work a little bit because Chrome he's a scientist, he's not military, so it's kind of like he doesn't have any kind of anything when it comes to being in with an enemy, seeing an enemy and
Yeah.
communicating with one. So I wonder about that.
It's interesting. I mean, it's obvious that some things like him knowing what a white flag means, like you could headcanon that Senku briefed him, if you get into trouble, wave a white flag. In my time, that means surrender. But I don't even know if they went that deep with his reaction to it. But the scientific side is awesome, and it's a great point that he can use science to face a military tactic without ever having faced military tactics before. It's an outstanding point, Hank. He gets taken to Tsukasa, and Chrome basically talks some smack, and then we cut away, and we get to spend some time back in the kingdom of science. And of course Kohaku wants to go and save Chrome once Magma comes back to let him know that Chrome was taken captive. And this is the second time Kohaku's shown a little something for Chrome. In the first season, she, jokingly, you could say, well, me and Ruri look a lot alike. If we, win this, you can't marry her. You could take me as consolation. Ha ha, joke. And, but she doesn't think twice about running off on her own here. Is this familial, or do any of you guys think Kohaku was maybe actually telegraphing something in season 1? Christine?
I don't know about that. I do know that Kohaku doesn't really, she doesn't think before she acts. She's kind of, she gets mad and she'll hit someone, especially Chrome for calling her a gorilla. And so it's just kind of like she's a hothead, and she doesn't think before she acts. So I think it's maybe more like that, but that could be.
That the gorilla and her knocking him on the head kind of seems like playground pigtail pulling. But what do you think, Brian?
Yeah, yet again, I'm not sure. It's tough with especially with anime. Like, I don't know if it's more of a brotherly love or the other.
Yep.
It's tough to say sometimes. And like you said, there hasn't been a whole lot between the two, but there have been tiny little things like you said about season 1. So it's like, I don't know. But the show has established that who he's into.
Yes, absolutely.
And so the show has sort of laid that down. No, this is his interest right here. And so I don't know if
they want to,
I don't know if they would explore that.
Yeah, if they want to try to throw in triangles and exactly. Shit. Who knows?
Well, it wouldn't really be a triangle because Ruri isn't really interested.
Yeah, she is.
She hasn't I don't remember that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
I know she had said like, oh, I'll marry anyone, and it's kind of like, ouch.
Because and then what's his name? Jasper right after said, "Read between the lines, dude. She has to say that."
Oh, yes, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't gotten a chance to explore what Ruri can do because she goes from revealing everything to Senku and to him saying, "Okay, I'm keeping the chief title, but we're divorced," and they've gone straight into defending the village, repairing the village, and then preparing for war. We haven't gotten any time to explore Ruri at all, and I think that's kind of sad at this point. Brian, do you think that's sad?
Yeah, because you're 100% right. As far as this season is concerned, she has been dropped off the story almost completely, where she was a main focus for especially the middle to latter half of the first season. So I'm assuming she'll come back into play. I would hate to think that she was just a plot device and is no longer going to be, have any real screen time. But we'll see. And then they're in the middle of an actual conflict, and they're building towards that. So hopefully that's not the case, and she'll get more later.
And
yeah, she's kind of like a worker bee, like everyone else. So you don't really get a little bit of character development, but I mean not as much as you would with other shows. I think that's maybe more of what that is. So you haven't explored it.
Let's talk about the invention. It's what we all knew was coming. The steam engine, the tank from the opening credits, and I was right. I said I don't think it's going to be like a siege weapon. I think it's going to be like a transport. And indeed, it's really funny how Senku gets Kohaku to stop running after Chrome. He gets on the megaphone and calls her a lioness, and she stops dead in her tracks, and that's an interesting thing. And I don't think this is in any way romantic, but her relationship and dedication to Senku is shown when he meets her in episode 5 or 6. No, at the end of episode 5 of season 1, and she goes, "I think I've rather taken a liking to you," or something like that.
Yeah.
And here, he can say something, and like you said, she's a hothead, and he stopped her dead in her tracks. I think that's a mirror of Tsukasa and his right hand man, Hyoga. Are you guys getting that with Senku and Kohaku? It's like a mirror, like she's the mirror to Hyoga.
Yeah, because like he's got the whole trio, him working, but he trusts her to get stuff done, of course, and she's very skilled, and yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, the way it's always felt to me, even from her introduction, was if he wasn't leading, she should be. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have different approaches, but I see leadership in both those characters.
She would need a
sort of
good advisor, though. But that's where Jasper and her dad. She's
someone who I think would step up and be like, yeah, I'm running shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, if Senku hadn't shown up and she hadn't been able to defeat Magma in a second tournament, she would have killed him to keep him from killing her sister. So. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing, because she brought up that whole point that, she hasn't killed anyone before, and she doesn't know if she could, but I honestly know she would there.
Yeah, for her sister.
So the car, the whole invention thing, the creation of molding Brian.
That was awesome.
They made a fucking lathe. And then Kasuke and Senku, going over the final design and how the shaker steam engine works, and of course, just Kasuke going ballistic over it and what he gets to build. This is all such a great thing. I absolutely loved it. Brian, what your take on this?
Oh yeah, from the honeycomb to the beeswax to making the molds, and just the whole process of him explaining, this is what we're doing, and the look. I love how because when they have these sequences, you see the reaction of the characters participating in the construction and the look of awe on their faces, and the fact that you got to remember those characters are also learning these skills, learning this knowledge. And the idea that if something were to happen to Senku or whatever, that it would carry on. That's his goal. He wants knowledge to carry on. And this yet again, it was very well done.
Yeah, Christine?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I always enjoy the villagers' reaction when they get excited or when they get confused. I liked the part where, they talk about, they had grabbed the honeycomb for a different project, and the irritation on their faces, like when they've got a bunch of bee stings all over them, they're like, oh god, this sucks. Or like Kohaku's comment on, like, I think she says recycling, whatever that is.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's just like I love how it's like they're constantly learning even now, and enjoying them being excited and getting to see so much of history that they haven't. I know they have the 100 Tales, but that doesn't cover enough.
No, but I hope that we get to discover at some point, and you guys got to remember, all three of us are completely blind here. We're not reading the manga. And we're not watching the subtitled Crunchyroll. We're watching the dub because Kyle is an asshole. And
yes,
just all you guys got to do is just find the anime we want to watch and send it to me in subtitle before I catch it in a dub. Otherwise, we're locked in.
Yeah, which one you pick.
It's I love all the reactions as well. Gen, when he turns around and sees the wheel being made.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, I love it. But they are basically getting ready to go set up a FOB, a forward operating base. They're gonna abandon the village because Tsukasa knows where it's at. Rome's been captured. There's a risk of a preemptive attack, a sneak attack or something like that, and it's time to go, set up camp elsewhere, and that's why the car comes about, and it's awesome to watch Senku himself once again go through the process. It's a lot more condensed now in the Stone Wars, which I'm okay with. I don't need 3 episodes to build a car,
Yeah.
I loved having 5 episodes to build a cell phone, but I don't need it for the car now. And part of that is because the real life of technology begetting technology.
Yeah.
But while they're getting ready to pack things up, Kohaku makes a point that or Senku's talking about that Tsukasa is not necessarily going to want to kill Chrome, that he's probably being well taken care of. They're not all psychopaths, and as long as he doesn't say the wrong thing, and Kohaku starts saying but it's Chrome. If he keeps his mouth shut, but it's Chrome, and it takes everyone.
I laughed out loud.
Oh
Yeah.
my! So did we, dude.
Yeah, like I got it at first, but then like when she had to repeat it and like when it like clicks in their head, like, oh, that's what she means. Oh crap. So it was funny.
Yeah, and I loved. This is probably, and I think Brian's gonna probably agree with me. This is probably currently my favorite scene in all of the Doctor Stone. Chrome being held at the waterfall by Hyoga, questioned and interrogated by Tsukasa, and figuring out, that there's a futility in trying to save his life, and a futility in trying to lie. So he doesn't even try to lie. He just stands his ground. I'm a scientist. I'm going to use science to impress all these people, but he calls out the wrong science, rainbow fire.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my God, check out my, cup noodle. But the interrogation and questioning and the eventual release of Chrome when he's like, just fuck it, let me go, and they drop him. Brian, up to the point where they drop him, how much were you just eating this up?
Yeah, it was fantastic, and that scene says a lot about a lot of those characters. It was a really well done scene, and sort of also showing us how these characters think, and I think things that'll play out later. But the fact that he was willing to, the moment he's really, now this is a point you kept saying earlier, oh, did I think, something bad was going to happen? This was the point where I was like, oh, they're going to do this. And the look on his face that he was willing to, the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And just the way that all played out, I was like, oh, wow. Yes, that scene, was shocking. And then, of course, it didn't go down completely the way I thought it was going to. But, fantastic scene.
Christine was, this to me is like gold.
Yeah, because the people that are around him, around Tsukasa in this scene are the people that are probably the closest to him, the most loyal. So with him just spouting stuff like, hey, we invented this, we invented that, it probably would not have swayed them at all, and probably not even one of them. So it was best to keep quiet. It would have been nice to maybe give something other than his rainbow fire. But it was a really good scene.
And so, they drop him, and like Brian said, he not just the look on his face, but the words. He tells Tsukasa, just fucking do it. I'm not giving you shit. And even if I did, you're still gonna kill. So just drop me. And this is. I want to talk about what happens, with Ukyo in a second. But when they do drop him, Tsukasa saves him. He rips this tree branch out and says out loud or in his mind or something like he stood his ground or was consistent. He maintained his loyalty, his standard, his steadfastness to the very end, and then tells the other two, we will get nowhere with this man because we've used the stick and the carrot, because they do try to recruit him and even entice him with the, I'll let you do some science. We have tools. Fire, you can do your tricks. That's fine. You figured out ramen. That's cool. I'm okay with that. And it's such a brilliant scene all together. And then when he's saved and the question of where he was found at is answered by Ukyo. Ukyo lies and says that he found Chrome near the nitric acid cave, the guano cave. And that's a big fucking deal. Christine?
Yeah, like, what's he up to? What does he want to do? Does he like where he's at? Maybe that's it. But yeah, like questions kept running through my head. Like, he's up to something, and like what Nikki said. Some people are happy. Some people are not. Maybe he's one of those that's not, or he wants, like what you had said. Like maybe he wants to take over. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Chrome is the one that thinks about that, because Chrome hears the lie, and he's like, why did he lie for me? Is he trying to sow Chrome is even trying to figure out what's going on. Brian.
Yeah, does he have something going on for his self-benefit, or is he now an ally, just sort of that they don't realize is an ally?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no clue. And it was an interesting scene where I was like, oh, I was legitimately surprised by that moment. I did not think that was going to happen. I thought that the phone was going to be found. I thought that part of the plan was going to be screwed up. Yeah. And the fact that it wasn't, I was like, oh, okay, well, what happens next? And like I said, what is the motivation for lying? And now we have a situation where even if he's playing for Senku's side, Senku doesn't know that. So now you have this whole new dynamic that is not everybody's aware of, and another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think something that just popped in my head, maybe he realizes that the fact that he's an archer in a place, in a community where they're like, oh, weapons are bad, maybe he just realizes this he's full of shit, so maybe like that's part of it, where he's like, like he can sense that this guy is full of crap, he's a hypocrite, so maybe it's something like that.
And I'll bring up again, I think there's that potential with this scene combined with the earlier scene that there might be a romantic interest here. Maybe Ukyo lost someone, when he was, put in the stone like everyone else, and he's been awakened, but the person that he cared for, hasn't been found or was broken or whatever.
I just love that you're shipping Ukyo and Chrome so hard.
No, it's because
I'm with you.
Yeah,
but it is funny.
Yeah, these two combined make it an interesting point, regardless of whether it goes to a friendship brotherhood type deal, or it goes down a romantic end. The fact is that this guy has some sort of connection with Chrome, right?
I would say yes. In terms of personally, I think he has shown he did not have to say what he said. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I don't. You're right. There's something there. I don't know if it's romantic or not. Yep. I mean, if that's a path they want to go, fine. But I don't know, man.
Something about something either Chrome did or said has caused Ukyo to be like, I want to prolong his life for the time being, and that's very interesting development. So the show episode ends with this awesome bit with the car, and Kohaku saying, "Oh, it's like we made a living being," and Senku explaining, she's never, to Gen, who's like, it's not a living being, it's car, he's like, they've never seen something move on its own before.
That's not living.
That's not living, and it's awesome because one of the final lines, they show the engine going off, and it's all imaginary because there's no driver or anything, and it just goes off to the distance. And they call it the Senku Railway because they imagine it like a train steam engine, because that's basically what it is, just smaller scale. And I think it was Gen that says it. It's like, true. They just reached the Industrial Revolution, from Stone Age to Industrial Revolution, Brian, in less than 2 years. And I loved that Gen called it that. What do you
yeah.
say?
And I love the visuals. It was really cool.
Yeah.
The Victorian stuff.
Yeah. It was just I love that whole scene. But yeah, the fact that we have a vehicle and a steam engine. I mean, hell, man, what's next?
Steam engines brought the automation world, of everything.
Yeah, you'll be able to transport stuff a lot easier. I still think it would have been better if it was more like a tank, because it can handle different types of terrain. Yeah, because it's like right now it's just wheels, and it's like it would have been better with this, but maybe we'll see, what you just said, it will be. Maybe the next episode will have that, because I think it would just be smarter if that's what it was.
Like I said, I think that main cannon that you see on the tank in the credits, I think it's actually going to be some sort of ground clearing. Yes, it could be used as a weapon, but it might be like a flamethrower to clear path or something, or to it might fire explosives, but it's to blast rocks or something.
Yeah.
Brian, you.
Yeah, there will be modifications. It will be changed. Yeah.
So, I have no idea where this is going. I don't know what in God's name we could see them invent next, because we thought the tank thing in the credits would be the big one, and here we are, episode 4, and still got to get all the way to episode 11. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a solid A+ episode from me. I loved it from beginning to end. I can't think of anything bad to say about it. This is almost a perfect anime episode from comedy for the shonen style that it is, from comedy to action to the intrigue and the amount of character development. Dude, they did so much stuff in this episode. Fuck the A+ 100 out of 100. Christy?
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't know if you wanted. I was gonna say the same thing, A+, but I can't write it right now. Can you write that for me?
Fine. Go ahead, Brian.
Agreed. I A+ from me. It was funny because when the credits were rolling, I tried to think of the score, because I got to come up with a score. And it was A+ immediately. This is the first episode of this 4-episode run here that we've seen, where I'll be honest, I didn't do it, and I'm not going to do it, but the temptation to watch ahead was the strongest it has ever been. The other ones, I was just like, no big deal, I'll wait a week, cool. This one ended, and I was like, oh, damn, I really want to watch the next episode.
I got 6 emails. I can get free Crunchyroll all fucking day with that and a VPN. I'm set. Let's do that. No, I'm not. Please don't. Yeah, amazing episode. Any last thoughts, Christine?
Nope.
Anything else, Brian, you want to say about episode 4 or what you're looking at next?
Just real quick, this episode has so many surprises. Them packing up camp and moving out, didn't see that coming.
No.
All the stuff with Chrome, didn't see any of that coming. Ukyo. This episode was one where it kept you at the edge of your seat, and it kept throwing things at you that you didn't necessarily see coming, yet it all worked. So yeah, great episode.
Something I did just think about that
I
know. I forgot about it because I wanted to say it earlier. Their prisoner. How is it going to be transporting her? Are they going to have people guard her at the camp, at the village? Because I don't think that's a good idea. but it's just tricky transporting a prisoner, and it's like, how's that gonna be?
That's true. I didn't think about Homura at all, Brian. That's a great point Christine brought up. We don't know anything about her this time. There was something else you called during the episode. It was fairly obvious, but it was still a great call. What was it? I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
It was something. You did though. I can't give you the specific credit, but yeah, you did. You were the first to speak out on something that happened and the purpose of it. But anywho,
I hope I remember it for next time.
Yeah. It's time for some shameless self promotion. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah. PulpMythos is a YouTube channel I'm on. It's PulpMythos. It's one word, and do all kind of reviews on there. So yeah, check that out.
Yes, indeed. And you guys know, check out God, I'm gonna get Christine to read a script one day. Hey, check out LRMonline.com every single day for all your entertainment news, needs, and opinions. Check out the YouTube channel. All of our podcasts are going up on the YouTube channel these days, and of course the podcast network is still there. So if you don't like Google and you want to use Apple, we're on Apple's as the LRM Online Podcast Network. But beware that these podcasts are going to get their own network to a degree. We're going to be bringing you guys the Genre Verse by LRM Online. Notice the expansion into anime with this podcast, which is going to continue well past Dr. Stone. But believe me, as soon as Doc Stone comes back on, everything else will drop. We could be like mid of something and they surprise us with a Doc Stone special, and fuck that series.
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure you guys are subscribed, because lots of big changes are coming, and they're all good and great, and not to mention all of the wonderful A-class celebrity interviews that you guys aren't going to get anywhere else. You guys can find me at that Kyle Malone on Twitter, at that one Kyle Malone on Instagram. Christine doesn't do social media, so if you want to talk to her, leave some comments and let us know. And also give us some suggestions for some anime to review. And until next time, guys, have a good one.